Yeah, it's okay. It's good.
Is that okay?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah. Sure.
So,
And later on, okay, we will start about in 5 minutes.
okay.
Okay, thank you. I will turn it back to my screen. Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Cambodia.
Em đi đoàn làm chính sách đoàn đón hội treo đẹp đến mỗi nơi không có được không có được bố rồi ra chỉ đi là như vậy một máy xử lý thôi
然后有一个是男的，有一个是那个下面有一个是，然后印度那个其他组是印度。然后那个印度。
那个指令。
谁在讲？我要拿 mute all。这是你的第一个数。 另外一个是什么时候？那个 Fernando 有回吗？
我们还没有写信给朋友啊，可是说要我就在那上面说要先看你们时间。对啊，不过等一下，因为这2项好像还有陆续有IODC成员在回复。我觉得反正26不管怎样就开始就就是如果真的到最后还想要的话就再说，因为我觉得太赶了。
Hello, everyone. My name is Chi-Ming Peng, and let's start our IODC 2018 and also Asia Open Data webinar. And I will talk something first, and later on, and I will introduce the speaker. And if you have any kind of questions, you can see we have a shared Google document, and you can leave any message or you can chat with us. And actually, this is the IODC, and this is the agenda today. And I will introduce the meeting member later on, and introduction by the ODI, Fiona, and James Maddison. And I mute you all first because I want to keep the quality. And if you want to say something, please send a message to me, or you can raise your hand or something, and let me know. And finally, we have a Q&A. And we have lots of people now. And some people from Philippines, and people from Malaysia, Indonesia, and also from Vietnam, yeah, Cambodia, and also some people from Taiwan. So we have lots of people from here. And also, one of my friends in Japan, and he said he was busy today, but he want to see our record. And actually, we will record everything and send them the message to them later on. And this is me. I am a president of ODA in Taiwan, and we have lots of the vice president also join us this meeting. And I'm a meteorologist. Actually, I run a weather company in Taiwan. And later on, we have a speaker. One is Fiona Smith, and he was talking about the Open Data, ODI, Open Data Institute. And I visited ODI for about 4 times. It's very interesting, very active open data organization in the world. Later on, Fiona will talking about the ODI, and also another speaker is James Maddison. And James Maddison is the project coordinator of ODI. And why we have this meeting? Because in the future, in September, late September, IODC, International Open Data Conference, and will be in Argentina. And it will be from the September 24 to 28, and it will be Argentina, very far away from Taiwan. We will have a 2 long flight. For example, for me, I will fly to Amsterdam first, and later on take about maybe over 12 hours from Taipei to Amsterdam. Later on, 12 hours to Argentina, and this meeting they will have a pre-event and also 2 days international conference. And the organizer will be the IDRC, the major organizer is IDRC, also World Bank and the OD4D, and also government of Argentina. And this is the meeting looks like, and probably in Fiona will introduce more detail about that, because lots of the city issues, and also 2 days, Thursday and Friday is a key day for the international conference. And lots of the organizers, because I'm also the program committee, I review lots of the proposal. It takes it's a huge job for us to review all of the informations. And this is 2-day agenda. You can go to the online. Okay, right now, I will introduce the Fiona. Fiona, right now you can share your document. The floor is yours. Fiona?
Thank you. Yes, I'm just unmuting and sharing my screen with the slides. I might need a bit of a hand. Just a moment. My slides were up before. Is there a possibility of putting them up again? I can't seem to find.
You can share.
If I put them in the chat.
No. You can share the document. Share the screen. Is okay?
Okay, sorry, I'm struggling with, we don't normally use Zoom. Oh,
Okay.
there we go.
Is okay?
Can people see the slides now?
Okay, I can share for you.
Okay, thanks very much.
Okay, wait a minute. Is okay?
Yeah, can people see the slides now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Is okay?
Thank you thank you very much for that help. Well, welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to speak with you today. I'm really excited to join your call. I've been looking forward to connecting with you for some time. So as already mentioned, my name is Fiona and I'm from the Open Data Institute. If we move on to the next slide, slide number 2. So this morning, what I just want to spend a bit of time talking about is introducing the Open Data Leaders Network, and then talking about the pre-event that we'll be hosting at IADC. And following that, I would love to open up for some discussion and some questions. If we move on to the next slide. For those of you who haven't heard about the Open Data Institute, we are based in London, and we are a not-for-profit organisation. Was established by Sir Tim Berners-Lee about 5 years ago. So we exist to, if we move on to the next slide, to work with companies, governments, startups, researchers, the whole ecosystem, to try and build more trust in data, and also to try and increase the value and innovation with data. So that means we provide training, policy advice, we have a startups program. And another thing that we've been doing for about 3 years now is convening this network of open data leaders from different governments around the world. So if we move on to the next slide, that just shows you or introduces you to some of the people in the Leaders Network. We have run this program of a week-long training and engagement, I think 4 or 5 times in London. And then we've also run a regional network meetup in Africa and Eastern Europe. So as we continue to grow, we're very keen and excited to reach out to the Asia region. And I'm from Australia myself, so I'm very, very passionate about ASEAN, and I've heard from Fernando about the excellent work you've been doing. So very, very eager to talk after this presentation about how we might collaborate. If we move to the next slide, you can see we have engaged with over 40 countries now from around the world, and we've invited leaders from both the subnational or city level as well as the central level of government. We go into the next slide. The network exists to support skills development and leadership of people working in open government and open data. So last year we conducted a big survey about what are the key skills that people working in open data within government were looking to build. And so some of the major challenges people were facing were internal coordination, wanting to enhance the skills in publishing quality data, and some technical infrastructure issues. And the skills that people were really looking to develop more were understanding how to measure the success of their initiative, making data more usable and seeing more impact from people using data, and then some more technical skills around data publishing and visualization. So we move to the next slide, which shows you the themes of the curriculum that we deliver. So we try to incorporate those aspects from the survey by doing some training, but then a lot of peer learning and people exchanging ideas that they're working on from their own initiative, or sharing drafts of the policies that they're working on with each other to help improve and provide inspiration. So moving on to the next slide about IODC. I won't go over that again because we've already had an introduction, but I just wanted to kind of make the connection between this Open Data Leaders Network and the objectives of the international conference. So you can see how it fits in. So the conference, for those of you who haven't been, is for people working in government, but also researchers, civil society, journalists, all kinds of user groups. So it's like bringing all of those different communities together. And as you can see from the very full agenda, there's lots of thematic or sector-based sessions. So if you're working on open data in a particular field, like education or health, there's something for you. But our focus for this event is really on supporting those people driving initiatives in government. So following on to slide number 10, this is I think the third time that we have run this Open Data Leaders Summit, and we run it as a pre-event to the main conference to give people a chance to meet with each other on a sort of smaller level, because at the conference, there's hundreds and hundreds of people. It can be hard. It could be hard to meet, people that you really want to talk to and include into your professional network. So we try to create a space for that. We're aiming to have about 50 people attend. And we're working with the Organization of American States, the Open Data Charter, OD4D, and City of Buenos Aires as event partners. And it will be a half-day event, including breakfast and lunch. So there'll be lots of breaks. And the way that we run the event will be a combination of some keynotes from prestigious speakers. So previously we've had the CEO of the Open Government Partnership speak. But then we really want to emphasize opportunities for discussion between leaders around the table. So we move to the next slide, slide 11. The themes for this year will be, first of all, showcasing kind of innovations from different countries around the world. So you get to have a flavor of, what people are doing in Buenos Aires City or Indonesia or New Zealand, for example, to start to get some inspiration. But then we'll be spending about half of that time discussing around tables in an unconference style. So that means that the agenda and the topics that you choose to speak about are really driven by or chosen by the group of people at the table. So we have started to brainstorm some of those ideas, but we really want to let people, in the room focus on the most pressing and interesting issues that you're facing. We'll do a little bit of feedback. And then the other focus of this event will also be reflecting on the global open data principles. So for the last about 6 months or so, I've been working with the Open Data Charter to review the current principles, and they would really like to get more perspectives from people implementing open data within government about, are the principles still consistent? Are they still what we should be aiming for? How should they be changed? but also how can more countries and contexts be involved? Because I understand that some of the wording or the commitments at the moment are difficult for some contexts to sign up to. So we'd really like to get a dynamic discussion going around that theme. And finally, and then I will stop and leave it for questions. So how can you get involved? How can we collaborate together? James and myself, who's also on the call, are really looking to invite a range of diverse speakers to showcase their open data initiatives. This will be in a 5 to 7 minute flash talk style, so it's not a huge commitment, but we'd love to make sure that there is diversity from countries and perspectives and genders as well. So think about if you would like to nominate yourself or a member of your team, and you can get in touch with us for that. Secondly is to sign up as a participant. We will be publishing an Eventbrite invitation on the IODC website, as well as circulating through networks. So if you do plan on going to IADC, please do sign up to this event. And thirdly, you can help by suggesting a topic that you would like to discuss in the roundtables. So it might be a challenge that you're working on at the moment and you'd like to get more feedback from other people, or you'd like to learn the perspective of a particular topic from Latin American region, for example. But we're really open to hearing your ideas. So I will then leave it there for questions.
Okay, thank you, Fiona. I answer the question first, and the first thing is I want to nominate myself as a speaker. Probably, you mean 7 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, 5 to 7 minutes is very short.
Okay, I will nominate myself to be a speaker to talking about Asia open data, and also if we have more people, just I know. Some people from Taiwan, also from Japan, also probably in Asia will join. So if you have any kind of topic, probably you can also mention or specify the Asia as a topic. Yeah, maybe probably 30 minutes or something, talking something about that. But I would like to be a showcase as a speaker. Yeah, this is my first opinion. The second is in Asia, most countries promote the data economy. Probably we can have some topic talking about the data economy, about that. And I think that's what people will be very interested about that.
That sounds fantastic. I should also mention here that another session I'm running in the main event is about measuring the economic impact of open data. And I'm also looking for people to share case studies of any work that you've done in your country or a sector or a specific project where you're measuring the economic value. So if that sounds like something you're interested in also, do let me know. So there's plenty of opportunities to speak and present your work during the week.
Anybody have any questions? Dongpo, you will go there, and do you have any comment?
Hello?
Hello, Dongpo, please.
I don't have a comment. I have a question, actually. This very interesting summit conference talking about leadership. And my question is about the about the region. And as we know, as a open data development in the different region have a different situation, and the leadership in the different region also. And so I'm curious about if this summit invite more people from a different region to discuss what part of the leadership in development of open data in common and something not in common. And this is very good for us to compare each other, and we can make more abstract strategy for all of us, and we can make the strategy in different regions, and we can help each other. And do you have some kind of program? Yeah. That's my question.
Yeah, I think that's a really great question. That would be an interesting topic as well to discuss around the table with a mixed group, so with people from different regions, to talk about what does leadership look like in your country, and some of the mechanisms as well. I know that some countries start with a policy or legislation, but other countries are more focused on projects. So it's interesting to compare and contrast different ways of implementing open data across government. So I think those are all really interesting things that we can discuss and compare. I'm not sure. I guess there are a few other opportunities during the whole conference where those topics might come up as well, even outside this particular event. But I guess our aim and our hope for this whole Leaders Summit is to do that very thing you spoke of trying to encourage people learning from each other. So that's why we want to do more unconference, more case studies, and less less long talks, I guess, from the front of the stage. So yeah, I do really encourage you, if you have the opportunity, to come along and discuss. I will also be there all week from the ODI. We have lots of different learning resources as well that I'm happy to share, and work that we've previously done with the network as well.
Okay. Sorry, just a bit a short suggestion. Maybe before conference, we can have some discussion online, have an open document. We can discuss online and put everything, comment on the same document. And when you go to a real conference, a roundtable on conference, they will be easy to discuss each other. It's just a suggestion.
Yeah, no, that's a really good idea. So what would be helpful, do you think, to share in that document ahead of time? The kind of list of discussion topics, what other things would be useful?
Okay, I will ask Glenn. You means you will not go, but your other college from Web Foundation will go to IODC. And do you have any kind of comment about Fiona? Glenn from Indonesia.
Hello.
Hello, yeah, please.
Yes. I not a specific comment regarding the IODC event, but I was just wondering that as an IODP, we are trying to establish some kind of platform or collaborations between the different CSO in different countries, but also government also in different countries. As from your experience dealing with different stakeholders in other regions, do you have some suggestion for for IIDP in how to be able to build a strong collaborations among these key stakeholders, and what are the key factors that we need to consider for this kind of collaboration? Yeah, that's it.
Great. That's a very big question. A really good question. I think, collaboration will look different, of course, in different places because of the context. But I think something we've found helpful is to start with particular policy issues or problems that you can help address with open data, and then bringing all the stakeholders in that sector together around that problem. So at ODI, we call these like a sector change project or sector change program, where we might look at transportation, for example, as an opportunity to bring in stakeholders for the Ministry of Transport or Urban Development, with developers of apps, with disability advocates, for example, to bring them all together to talk about priorities, solutions, maybe run some hack days or open data challenges as well, that help generate those potential solutions or services. So that's something that I've seen done well in the European context in the UK. So a couple of projects that we've worked on at the ODI include the Open Data Challenge series, which was with Nesta. It's like an innovation organization, and worked really closely with especially local government level in the UK. But it took a problem-focused approach. Something else we're working on to encourage this collaboration is called Data Pitch, and that's working with big corporate organizations that have data that's valuable to, again, a particular sector like retail or banking or agriculture, and then kind of working with them to agree on what data they might be able to share with a selected group of innovators to, again, create a solution or service. So that's working more on the data sharing side of things. Yeah, that's just a few thoughts that I have, but I'm interested to hear from other people's experience on the call as well, different approaches that you use to engage across the different groups.
Okay, thank you. And probably I will invite Rahul. Rahul, are you there? Rahul, are you there? Yeah. Actually, Rahul is from India, Smart Cities Lab, and Rahul is a key open data about the smart city leaders. And Rahul, do you have any kind of comment?
Sure. Currently, related to the open data, I'm working in India and in Europe to put the open data for traffic. We have many open data portal in both of the continent, in either it's in India or in Europe, but most of the open data portal is not usable. The data is not coming good. And we don't have real-time data, we only have a historical data. So for the traffic planners, it's really difficult to, not the traffic planner from the city, but if like for example, a startup would like to do some innovation inside of the traffic planning, it's very difficult for him. He has to go particularly each and every time to city by city. So this is the initiation in between the EU and India to make this platform open and provide all this data, whether it's a real-time or the historical. So we are working on this kind of, and this is very difficult to convince a city to provide real-time open data, because most of the cities are wondering about hacking, that if they provide the real-time data, there could be a possibility of hacking, and it can create a massacre, which is not the case in Europe, because they are the data is very well secured, but in the case of India, it's not very well secured. As you might have heard even of the news, this the open data which was provided for the national ID card of India, and this data was completely hacked by everyone, and this was a very big issue. So that's why now in India the concern comes to how to secure the open data that people can. So we have to publish only the data which is not related to any personal information, no car information, no number plate information, no person-to-person information. Only that, okay, there is a car. We cannot even define that what kind of car it is. We can only define, okay, there is a car, there is a truck, there is a motorcycle, that's it. So this is what we are working right now in my organization for providing the open data.
Okay, thank you. And Fiona, do you want to have some feedback? Hello?
Yes, so I just unmuting.
Yeah.
And like, yes, I think that's a very real problem. And there's a couple of different issues there. So one is, you know, what are techniques for anonymizing data and securing it, because now there are so many technologies that can help to de-anonymize. So something that my labs team, that's our technical team, are researching are kind of ways of doing that to ensure privacy protection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think another issue is this approach of, especially the Open Data Charter, which says you know, you should be open by default, which can be very difficult. That means being, you know, open with everything unless there are good reasons where you can't be open. So a reason in this situation is because it exposes people to potentially some privacy
Sure.
some issues there. But I think that approach is very difficult for lots of countries to sign on to. So I'm hoping to have a really good discussion between representatives of different places of, you know, what should the ultimate goal of open data publication be? If open by default is, you know, it's too high a bar, what's the kind of level that we can, I guess, have consensus around? And I think our position at the ODI is we say as open as possible. So understanding that there are all these kind of threats and challenges where you're potentially putting people at risk if you don't take them seriously. So I'd love to have a really good, honest discussion about what those risks and threats are that you are managing.
Sure. I'm reading right now, like you must have heard about this GDPR regulation within the European law. So I'm reading about this thing. It's very interesting because recently in the Microsoft Inspire, the legal head of the Microsoft also says this thing, that this is kind of a standard. This should have to be standard for not only within Europe, it should have to be all over the world, because they have realized it's a very interesting legislation to provide. So it's anonymizing the data very interestingly. So currently in Europe, like if you are sitting in Europe and you have subscribed some kind of a newsletter, for example, 5 years back, you are receiving that email back that please, if you don't want to have this subscription, if you want to have this subscription, please say yes, or if you don't want, just ignore the email. So these kind of things because basic behavior of a human is we ignore the emails. So GDPR says if the people ignores, it means they don't want it. Previously, it was this thing that if the people ignore, it means you want it. So somehow they misled this thing, and that is also the reason with the GDPR that to how to anonymize it has been there. So I'm reading this thing. It would be very interesting if everyone should go with this. The booklet is completely open in the European Union website. It can be downloaded from it. It's really a huge book, but it's really interesting to read and to make sure how to do this thing in each and every country.
Just to say to Rahul there as well, we the ODI last year published a report on personal data in transport. So it doesn't directly relate necessarily to traffic, but there's some interesting findings in there about how people approach handling personal data within transport, with the transport ecosystem. And there's some information in there that relates to GDPR as well. So that's on our website if you're interested in reading that.
James, would you mind putting the link to it in the chat box as well?
I'll have a look for it.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. The next I will introduce Yusof from Malaysia. Mr. Yusof also working from the Sinar project. It's a very big project in Asia about the Mekong River. Yusof, you are also the program committee of IODC, right? And will you join this time?
Oh, is it too noisy? Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, all right, because I'm outside because my car just broke down. Yeah, so no, that's actually OpenDev Cambodia for Mekong region. But one of the insights that we work here in Malaysia for Southeast Asia is that we actually have underrepresentation for open data projects. But there's still a lot of innovative open data projects, such as OpenDev Cambodia, what they're doing down in Myanmar with Open Parliament initiatives. And also, there's also us in Malaysia. So what's interesting in Southeast Asia that, I mean, it would be good for us to have 1 or 2 representatives. I think maybe Fatana should definitely be there. So I'll nominate her. But what we've been missing so far is that there's a lot of initiatives in Southeast Asia, and the environment in Southeast Asia is where we don't get a lot of open data. So if you look at East Asia, a lot of the top 5 or top 10, you have Taiwan there, you have Japan and Korea. But in Southeast Asia, we're probably, most of us are at the bottom. But interestingly enough is that we actually have a lot of innovative open data projects in the region despite not having much open data. So what's happened in, for example, in Cambodia or Myanmar or in Malaysia is that civil society, along with some government agencies, have been able to work with limited open data and still have impact. So I think OpenDev Cambodia can speak better on this. But one of the problems that we have is that our approaches have usually not been included in the open data conversation. So usually when there's a conversation on open data, it's always government provides a lot of brilliant, nice data, innovation happens, you know, economy develops. And this usually works well in leading countries like in East Asia or in Europe. But the environment is not conducive for that approach in Southeast Asia. So quite often in Southeast Asia, what we tend to have is a bottom-up approach in which civil societies work to actually provide that data and not the government itself. And then they build on this data that they collect to do some innovative approaches, which so far we haven't been sharing. So if this is brought over, I think what I've learned when I've been meeting with you know, colleagues from Africa who also have similar approaches, that I think having the representation of these approaches like OpenDev Cambodia or Open Loopr from Myanmar, it would allow us to share our approaches in still being innovative with open data, even when we don't have much open data or there's constraints. For example, in Cambodia, they've got difficulties with civil society and a free press, but that does not mean that they still cannot do innovative approaches. And I think this is one unique aspect from Southeast Asia that can be shared with the rest of the world. So at least 1 or 2 of these projects should be highlighted at IODC if possible. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Fiona, do you want to have feedback?
Just want to say thank you for sharing that perspective. I think that's really, really important. And I agree that I think there are a lot of countries that can learn from what you're doing in Southeast Asia, especially, as you said, Africa region. So I work quite a bit in Tanzania, and that's the kind of route that they've had to go as well, of starting with valuable data that's being collected by CSOs, NGOs, or other implementation organizations, and starting with that data because they have such difficulty accessing data from the central government. So yeah, would love to showcase more of a bottom-up approach, I think.
Okay, we have a new friend from Vietnam, Miss Ly, and Miss Ly is from the PanNature. Ly, can you introduce yourself? Although you are very humble to say Vietnam is quite open data is new, so you want to learn everything from us. And however, please introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, I'm Ly. I'm from Vietnam. In fact, open data in Vietnam is new stage. So we don't have much process on open data. But there are some group in Vietnam. We are developing some platforms on open data, such as PanNature. We are developing a platform on environmental and economic data, but we don't have enough enough resources to develop own by ourselves. In fact, we integrated some project on that, and we create our data on environment and economic. In fact, my background is geography, cartography. So now I work as mapping and GIS engineer. So I do some tasks like data mining, and so. But we have intention to publish own data on the world and focus in the Vietnam to publish to on people, Vietnamese people. Yeah. In fact, now we would like to focus on geospatial data, but in Vietnam we don't have much policy on open data, and in the next time we would like to learn something from another country to lobby to promote on open data, as well as the framework on open data, because we have many law on such as access to information, but we don't have any regulation on open data. It's only on the access to information. So I don't know in other countries, in the region as well as in the world, how can we promote, how can we foster open data in the government as well as in the CSO. Yeah.
Yeah.
I can share our platform, but it's only in Vietnamese. I'm sorry, because we focus on Vietnamese people, and on the other hand, we have a platform, but integrated in the platform Mekong region, Vietnam development, open data Vietnam development. Yeah, but it's not really exactly really data on, because we only collect data on in the world. It's not really we create this data. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Ly, and welcome our new member. And will you go to the IODC 20 in Argentina this year? No. Will you go to Argentina IODC? No. Okay. Actually, no. I think Argentina is very far away. In this November, you can go to Korea for our AODP. You will learn something from our neighborhood countries. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I will invite Karen. Karen Zhang was from Taiwan, and Karen working for the government before. Right now, she is private sector doing about the something about the privacy or something issue. Karen?
Yes.
Yeah, please.
Hello, this is Karen. Hello, everyone, and thanks for ODA to arrange all these things. And we are very happy to see people or friends from different countries to join us together. And it's very happy or pleasure to have all of you again here online. And indeed, we are looking forward to seeing you, everyone, in November conference that Dr. Peng just mentioned in Korea, right, Dr. Peng?
Yes, yes.
Okay, very nice. And here I have an example to share with you, or like experience sharing with you. That is, couple weeks ago, we visited Thailand to visit their open data organization, that is DGA, Digital Government Agency of Thailand. And they are willing and looking forward to do something more or something further for open data, or like data economy something. And it's a pity that we don't have them this time. But I'm sure if we let them know this kind of opportunity, or that's my guess, maybe there are too many events in this month or in this period. So maybe we could invite them to join us again. And especially they will be happy to have some kind of international collaboration, especially on disaster prevention, in that those kind of data cooperation or standards or framework that we can do something. That means countries like us, like UK or Taiwan or even Glenn, maybe you could do something to have a kind of collaboration with Thailand. That's my thought. So next time I will invite in personally to let them get into our gathering. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Karen. And actually, just I know Karen travel a lot every month, and she has a long flight to every country. So next time, if you, Karen, you are working for one very special company, right? What's the name?
Yes, I'm worked for Egis Technology. That is fingerprint sensor.
Okay.
We that is IC something.
Yeah.
Yes, it's for identification, to have a kind of security or to protect privacy. Just like Rahul just of India, he mentioned like GDPR, that we are watching that as well.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Karen. Actually, if you have any kind of issue, actually, Karen, right? She's a data guy, but not working for the data company now, but very familiar about the privacy issues. And I would like to invite Gabriel. Gabriel, are you online now? Gabriel, will you
Yes.
go to there? Yeah, please.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right. I guess just 2 points. First is Gabriel Baleos. I was with government before. I was the open data lead from 2014 to 2016. Fiona, you might be familiar with my former colleague Ivy, because she was one of your in the leaders network. So just 2 points. First is on the open data charter. I'm not sure, Fiona, if how active that engagement is, or what's the value now of the charter relative to, I guess, the global open data community. But my note is just, I guess, since Philippines is signatory or a country who adopted it, and I remember being the point of contact from the government, and we had our cabinet minister sign that. I guess with the change of government, you might want to, I guess, seek a recommitment from the Philippine government. I don't know how, and I guess broadly speaking, how the charter is of value to, I guess, the rest of this group. And that leads me to my second point, and this is for Dr. Chi-Ming Peng. I think the last time we saw each other was in Canada in the IODC in 2015. So I think back then we were discussing how we would organize ourselves in the AODP. I think you've done some hackathons, you've done some conferences. I've actually been inactive because we left government in 2016 because of the changing governments. I have my own consulting work on civic tech. Part of that is work on open data. But I guess in a way I got excited because of this opportunity. There's 15 to 20 of us. I guess my question is more on governance or how do you organize ourselves? We've had some of our guests here talk about sharing, specific experiences, but it'd be nice to use this platform, the AODP, to fully organize ourselves. Do we, have monthly meetings? Do we incorporate to a full-blown civil society organization? How do you structure the members? Is there a government member committee? Is there a civil society / non-government committee? And I'm sure the ODI can share much of the, their engagements with the Latin American community, with the African community. They're more tight-knit with regards to regional cooperation. And I think that's been raised by a couple of those who spoke earlier. So I guess, again, just relating it to the charter, number one, maybe could the charter be an anchor? If not, because if it's difficult to adopt, or there might be certain principles or certain provisions that might not be applicable or that might be difficult to pursue politically, then is there such a thing as an Asian Open Data Agreement, Asian Open Data Principle, or some form of memorandum of agreement just to, I guess, propel this organization? I guess in a way, this is my first time to participate in a call with the AODP. So you might have had done some work. So if there's work done before, then maybe someone could speak to the work done. But I guess if we're talking about a path forward, ODI could come in and help us organize ourselves, or Dr. Chi-Ming Peng having the resources and having a wonderful staff engage all of us could spearhead this, a country rotation, leading this annually or biannually. And then just on the Philippine side, I'm speaking from a non-government perspective. So how do we define the government members if there should be in this, if we indeed formalize the Asian Open Data Partnership? So that's it.
Okay. Thank you, Gabriel. And your suggestion is very good. And I have one question to Fiona, because just I know Korea and Japan, sometimes they need invitation letter. Probably, I recommend if you in your summit, if you need more Asia people to join, can you maybe probably announce something, write an email to me, and probably AODP will send the letter to each organization. Some are NGO, some are from government official, and in Asia sometimes they need that, and because the time is very it's too rushed to make decision now, but we can try to send a message to them. It's okay, Fiona?
Yes. That sounds great. I believe there is a way to request an invitation letter as well from the IODC. So either the IODC program committee as a whole or the ODI as organizer of this specific event can prepare an invitation letter as needed.
Okay. Actually, not only our people, the participate today, and probably Korea and Japan, they need the invitation letter. And the next will be Josh Huang. Josh Huang is our key open data guy in Taiwan. Any comment?
No, not at the moment. Hi, everyone.
Yeah,
hi.
Please.
Okay. We've been working for healthcare open data for years in Taiwan, but I think everyone knows that the medical or even the health data is very private and very sensitive. So it's not easy to get the individual health data to be opened. But on the contrast, we can do statistic, big data, try to open the big data. Actually, in Taiwan, it's going to be a big progress in July, because the government decided to open the individual health data, because we have a national insurance, health insurance in Taiwan for for 15 years. So the database is quite huge and very, very valuable. But the thing are not to compromise the privacy. The government decided to open the data to each individual, each data holder, and they can own the data, their health record, and they can use the health record for their own will. So, which means that this both movement actually create a path to let the health data to be used by specific method. I mean, if an individual willing to let the data rights to be used by any commercial or any other institute, so that's its own will. I think that's a big improvement, big progress in Taiwan to open the health data. Yeah, sorry.
Fiona. Yeah, and because Josh actually graduated his PhD from the UK, and I know Josh is also expert about healthcare data. I'm wondering in IODC, any kind of topic talking about healthcare data or not?
I have to check the agenda. I believe that was one of the sectors that was mentioned, but I can confirm that with you later on.
Okay, yeah, and probably our next one is from Cambodia. Vatana. Do you have comment or questions?
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, please.
Right. Yeah. My name is Vatana. I'm from Open Development Cambodia, or we can call ODC. And in Cambodia, as an open data platform, we start our projects in 2011. And our mission is to increase the public awareness and access to the current and historical data, and especially about the Cambodia development. As you know, that Cambodia is one developing country in Southeast Asia, and our economy is strongly depend on the natural resource. And there's a lot of issues related to natural resource, and all the civil society, even the public, really want to know about, to get the access and the information of data. And as in the open data platform here, we have aggregate a lot of data from many public sources, like also we digitizing the document, publishing data set, also the map layer a lot, even also the legal document. However, there's also some challenge for us because of people here, they didn't really know much about the open data. And right now we're trying to not only to increasing the data on our platform, but also we have to promoting the public about the open data and how they can involve in the open data. And another challenge is about the political climate, or I can say that the government restriction. Like Khairil have also mentioned about the situation about the open data in the Southeast Asia. We have a similar situation regarding to the talking about the opening the data and information related to government. And recently, as in Cambodia, we have a national election coming, and the government have many action like restrict to the non-government organization, also the freedom of expression, something like that. And however, even those restrictions, we have the restriction from the government. We still try to work and collaborate with other like NGO or regional, how we can work together. Especially, I hope that for the IODC, I hope that for the conference, I want to learn from other open data community about how we can work together, or we can learn and share the success story that they have been working with the government or other like open data community, or that we can improve, especially we can learn and improve the open data in Cambodia, especially to promote the public get involved for the data contribution, something like that, and how to let them know that the benefit of open data. Yeah.
Thank you. And we still have some time. James Maddison. Yeah, James Maddison. Do you want to say something or comment something, or you want to share something?
To be honest, I think Fiona's pretty much covered it from our end for the event. It's going to be really interesting. We're trying to get a really diverse selection of people from various organizations around the world. So there'll be some nice perspectives from people from different countries where they're all at different stages of development with how they're using open data, both within government and throughout various sectors. So I'd really encourage you to come if you can make it.
Okay, thank you. Finally, probably Fiona, I think because I visited the ODI long time ago, and in just 2 years, I know probably Gavin Lee left, and I'm thinking probably the ODI, Open Data Institute, may pay some attention in Asia, because I just look at, this is our key member, and the open data issues in Asia. We still need lots of training course or lots of the law issues and some application for this area. Probably I recommend probably ODI and working with us IODP in the future. And I think it's a good opportunity for the IODC 2018 in Argentina. Probably in November, we will meet together in Korea.
Okay.
So yeah, please, in the future, please don't forget us, because I know you pay attention in Africa and also South America, but in Asia, please pay more attention.
Yeah. We would absolutely love to do more work with you and find some opportunities to collaborate. So maybe the conference that you're planning later in the year is another good chance to meet face to face. And if you are visiting through London as well, we are very happy to host you, to run a meeting and introduce you to some of our experts working on different issues as well. So yeah, consider us here to help support you. And now I think you have our contacts as well through this event as well, if you would like to get in touch.
Okay, thank you. Anyone have the questions or want to say something? Please. Anyone?
Yeah, I'll just before because what was it? Sorry.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Please.
Sorry, yeah. So Gabriel just raised about a mechanism for Southeast or Asia collaboration. So Fernando, I think from IDRC was supposed to be in this call. I'm not sure if he's talked with AODP already, but IDRC was already interested in supporting a mechanism to build the community for Asia, including funding for active research projects, in specific countries. So that.
Fernando Alonso? No.
Yeah. This is IDRC.
Yeah.
So so Fernando is not here, but he's now in the process of working to support such a mechanism in Southeast Asia. How it will be, we're not sure yet, but we're looking at a possibility of a community of practice, with a proper secretariat, maybe from Taiwan, Southeast Asia, as well as maybe South Asia. So that some calls like this would actually happen for collaboration. So share that. So that's probably would be a separate call, but just to share that IDRC is working on this at the moment.
Yeah. Thank you, Yusof. And actually, I fly to Canada, Ottawa, to visit Fernando in this May, and we talk about that. And we are planning in our side, in Taiwan side, and probably we will support some funding working with IDRC together in these regions. So we want to find more partner in this region working together. So just like you working together in the future. Probably. So you will go to the IODP in Korea this year, right?
Yes, I will be there. Yeah.
Okay, so you will not be in Argentina this year.
I might be there.
Okay.
Most likely I'll be there in Korea, and I'll probably be in London shortly. I think in September as well.
Okay, so you are from London to Argentina.
To Korea and then Taiwan.
You travel a lot. So when we meet together and we can talk something about because we hope we can working with IDRC Taiwan side and LDP working together in the future. So anyone have the comment? We are running out of time.
Well, from my part, I just want to reiterate how we can grab onto this opportunity. There's 15 of us. It'll be nice. It's to continue this if we need to have more calls. But I guess my suggestion would be on organizing ourselves. So if there's an opportunity to, not just have token conferences, so we can have a more collaborative nature, whether that comes in the form of a conference or, creating something entirely new or creating a sharing opportunity for others, whether those are from government or from fellow civil society organizations. So that will be nice. Whether ODI will be a partner that will be their decision. If you can get help from IDRC or whoever. I guess the challenge is for Dr. Chi-Ming Peng. You're the default leader for now. So until we organize ourselves, I don't know, we come up with a rotation mechanism, which is what the other regional alliances do, then I guess the burden is on you. We count on you as our fearless leader for now.
Thank you. You can be the leader next. Okay, thank you. We will keep in touch talking about that. So you will go to Korea this year, right?
Well, that's up to you.
Okay. Okay. And Tim say something. Tim want to you want to talk? Or because Tim talked to Rahul talking about Tim, because Tim is a traffic guy and he's very interested to discuss about the standard of urban traffic open data. Yeah, probably. Tim want to talk something?
Okay. Hello everyone. Okay. My name is Tim and working in the TMS Technology from Taiwan. Okay. Our company is ITS company and we develop an ITS solution to our government. And I think maybe 5 years ago, I and Chi-Ming went to the ODI, and we also have a visit to the ODI, and we learned a lot from ODI. And we are very interested into talking about a company. It's called Transfer API. And we also suggest our government, and we can use open data and to do the service like the Transfer API. So 3 years ago, our government do a government project to build up a website we call the PTX. Okay, and the website functions all. I think the function is all the same as the Transfer API. Okay, but because it's government project, it's free for everybody. So in Taiwan, our government like to do some good service but use the government project. So I think this is a very interesting about because I see the Maddison share some of the documentation. It's about the open person data in transportation. Because in Taiwan, last week we just discussion with the MOTC person. In Taiwan, we developed some system like the MAS. MAS is the mobility as a service, and like the Finland they do. Okay. So we collect a lot of the personal data, like from the EG card, from the e-tech, from the mobile data. So I think that how to protect the personal information, I think is the key issue for our government next. So if we can share some, we can learn some of the from you. I think it's very interesting for us. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tim. And I think finally, I would like to introduce, you know, in this Thursday early morning in Taipei time, Beijing time, 10 o'clock, we will introduce Fernando. Fernando is a key guy for the IODC and also the global open data information. And I will invite you to join. And we have a 1 hour talk talking about IODC 2018 this time. And because right now, actually, we invite him to join us today. But you know, time difference. Right now, he's sleeping now. I think. Okay, and Fiona, and I think you can feel that in Asia region, everything is growing up. It's growing up. Everybody want to talk about open data. So finally, do you have something to talk? Give you 1 minute.
Yeah, absolutely. Just wanted to say thank you all for your participation. It's been a pleasure to meet you all. And I can tell that there's a lot of enthusiasm on the call. And I also think Asia is really leading the world in terms of innovation, despite some of the challenges you mentioned in terms of perhaps access to government data. So I think that there are a lot of things that other places can learn from your network. So very happy to be involved in continuing discussions if you would like. A kind of a voice from the ODI, and hope to meet some of you in person in Argentina. If you are passing through London as well, you're also really welcome to visit our office, and I can set up a meeting with you. So get in touch if your flights are going via Europe.
Okay, thank you, Fiona. Okay, thank you, everyone. And this is a very good webinar, and hope we can keep in touch next time, and face to face and from the internet. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.